and today I have with me Brandon Miller, Angela Miller, Deborah Reagans, Amanda Reagans, and Bentley Reagans. And today I am going to be talking about how the death penalty is negative to society. So to begin with, think about a situation where your loved one or someone you know's loved one was executed through capital punishment. If you've been through that situation, you understand how families feel when they lose someone. You understand the trauma and the hurt that you can go through. And the reason why you're going through all of this is because the government does not have any restrictions for capital punishment. So today I'm hoping to persuade y'all to change your opinions or keep your opinions against the death penalty. I am credible to talk about this topic because I have done months of extensive research and have previously talked about the pros and cons to the death penalty earlier this year. So to begin with, I'm going to give you all a preview of my 3 main points. My first point is that death is permanent. Most of America does not support the death penalty, and that the death penalty does not deter any crimes. So for my first point, I'm starting off with a woman's statement named Dinah Fine Moran. She stated that since 1973, over 144 death sentence cases have been exonerated. And she has also stated, taken another person's words with citations, that from a person named Gross, that over 340 people were innocently killed using capital punishment. This shows that there is a clear error in our American criminal justice system. This is backed up by a man named David Margolick, who covered the O.J. Simpson trial. He stated in the New York Times that in the United States, begin quote, 1 or more persons in every year of this century have been on death row who are eventually shown to be innocent, end quote. So this rate has slowed, thankfully, since 1950, and there's reason to believe that over 1,600 men and women currently sit on death row who can be presumably seen as innocent. And so Margolick also stated that he's researched 32 cases, and these cases have turned out that the people sitting on death row were innocent because the person that they quote-unquote killed or murdered was actually found to be alive. And so a man named Jonathan Van Ken, a true crime author, stated that in a case of Gregg versus Georgia, 1993, that the Supreme Court stated and ruled that new evidence for a death sentence case cannot prove a person's innocence. Putting to death is a sentence that many Americans today do not support, which brings us to my second point. America as a whole, or majority of America, does not support the death penalty. It is normal for people in this country to overlook others' opinions and to not see eye to eye on controversial topics, but surprisingly, people who are for the death penalty are actually the minority in this country. A study done by Gallup, which was represented by PBS's Juan Lozano, an experienced court person who has studied court cases, both federal level and state level of Texas, stated that 53% of Americans do not support the death penalty, and that the other 43% of Americans do support the death penalty. And recently, as everyone knows, everyone can change opinions, and in recent times it is shown that many Republicans are changing their opinion on the death penalty and are actually going against the death penalty instead of for the death penalty. Death Sentence Info Center did a study last year in 2023 that the United States was the 3rd most country with executions in the entire world, following Saudi Arabia and Iran, 2 of some of the most violent countries in our society today. A man named Ed Pilkington, chief reporter for The Guardian, shows that the U.S. had 5 executions in 5 different states in the matter of 6 days in 2024. This obviously shows that America is becoming more and more rigorous with executing people in such a short amount of time instead of thoughtfully and thoroughly going through a case and truly identifying and stating that this person does need to be executed. The criminal justice system uses capital punishment to scare people from committing crimes, but capital punishment does not actually deter any crime rates. Advocate for Human Rights says that, start quote, effective law enforcement rather than severe punishment is more effective in preventing crime, end quote. This is furthered by John Lamperti, a professor at Dartmouth College. He stated that data from 1973 to 1984 states that states that don't support the death penalty have increasingly lower statistics from crime rates from states that do support the death penalty. This year, it was shown that states without the death penalty showed a 3.3% increase in crime rates, while states that do support the death penalty showed a 5.3% crime rates increase. Lamperti continued with a story about an Oklahoman truck driver. He was coming to Texas and he stopped at a diner, and on the side of the road, a Texas farmer came over and shot and killed him. And when the farmer was questioned why he did this, he simply stated, "I didn't want to live anymore." This is obviously showing that people are using the death penalty because they know that it is an easy way out of life, and that if they murder someone to a degree without showing any remorse, it is more than likely they are going to get the death sentence. This is clearly showing that people that have sick minds are using this as an easy way out. To conclude, I'm going to review my 3 main points. Death is permanent. Most of America does not support the death penalty. And the death penalty does not actually deter crime. I hope I was able to persuade you today to either change your opinions or strengthen your opinion on this, to show that the death penalty is in fact negative to society. Think about the statement I stated before. If you lost a loved one to the death penalty and they were executed, how would you feel? If you realize that you would be upset or traumatized by this, are you just going to sit back and let other people go through the same thing you had to go through, or are you going to actually do something to change this?